Hello, welcome to Foreign Age News. This is Nostradamus back again. I want to keep updating you and reporting on the surface earthquakes which are currently ongoing on the northern slopes of Alaska. And I showed you in my last video how very unusual they are, and then we'd not seen any since the major earthquake outbreaks in September of 2018. So I thought I'd want to go back to 2018 and do an examination of exactly what happened back then. So I'm on my advanced settings, and I've focused in on the northern slopes of Alaska. I've set my minimum magnitude to magnitude 1, so it won't show any micro quakes. I've put my start date on the 3rd of August 2018, but it all kicked off on the 12th of August 2018. Let's have a look what happened back in September, a couple of years ago. To the start. Oh, hang on, we can see we had just one small 1.2 in the centre area on the 4th of August. There was hardly anything in the weeks before that. There was about 3 earthquakes not connected to the swarm. And then, boom, the 6.4 hit almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon to the west. Large earthquake. And then after that, all hell broke loose. And you see, so, lots and lots fairly good size aftershocks. Some of them's only seconds apart, all in the 2s, 3s, 4s and 5s, and there was another 6 as well. Just see how many there are. I'm not going to go through them all for obvious reasons, but this is in 24 hours there was 217 sizable quakes. Well, not in 24 hours, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so that's in the space of 9 hours, 217 quakes. And some of these, like the last one, the very last one on the 12th of August, was a 4.4 surface quake. During the next 24 hours, there were another 525 earthquakes, the largest of which being a 4.9, which was slap bang in the middle of the bunch. On the following day, we dropped down to just 278 earthquakes of magnitude 1 or higher in the area. On the 14th of September, August, sorry. I have a similar story on the 15th, 238 earthquakes, but the size seems to be diminished. This is showing the next 2 days combined, the 48 hours from all of the 16th and the 17th, where we had an additional 319 earthquakes, getting back up to 4.5 magnitude. For the next following 7 days, that's from the 18th all the way through to the 24th, there was an additional 913 earthquakes, topping out were 3 4.5s. Just looking to see whether we're getting any the shallow ones by now. There's an awful lot to go through. During that same week, there were 13 surface quakes, highest of which being 2.4 magnitude. And during the final week of August and through the whole of September, there were additional 1,358 earthquakes, the highest of which being a magnitude 5.1. 15 of those were surface quakes. Things start to die down a little during October, where we only had 373 quakes. There was a larger percentage of shallow quakes, with being 8 in total. There were 328 earthquakes during November. Only one of these was at the surface, a 1.7. And then during December, there were just 216 earthquakes, topping off at 4.5. Only 2 of which were small surface quakes. Looking back through the whole of 2019, we were averaging about 25 earthquakes per week, giving a total of 1,264, which is probably about normal for that part of the world. So now you'd be glad to know that I'm going to get to the point of why I'm showing you all this. So here again, this is for the whole of 2019, and there were a total of just 6 surface quakes, and the highest was a 1.6. And I'm showing you this in relation to what's happening right now. This is now showing all the earthquakes up until the end of November in 2020. From January 1st up until November the 30th. And we've only had 519 earthquakes of magnitude 1 or higher. Let's take a look at the surface quakes. And as you can see, we've only had 5 all year. And once again, they've been mostly small quakes between 1.1 and 1.4. Then, on the 30th of November, we've had the largest surface quake in years. Right, I'm now showing all earthquakes, and including since the ground level 1.8 on the 30th. And we've only had 6 since. They're very unusual. I showed you the 3.4 at 0.1 kilometre depth on the 1st, and we had a deep 2.2, and then we had quite shallow at 1.9 kilometres, a 3.7 on the 7th, And again on the 7th, then we had a surface quake of 1.9. Again on the 7th, we had a 2.7. And now, today, struck just a couple of hours ago, another 2.4 surface quake. Now, I did show you in my previous video how unusual it is to have surface quakes at magnitude 1.8 or higher. And indeed, we didn't see any in the years, not a single one in the years leading up to the 2018 swarm. And we didn't see any then until after the large 6.4 kicked it all off. There was nothing before the 6.4, and then we started seeing some surface quakes in 2018. And this time around, we've had no big 6.4 earthquake. These larger surface quakes seem to be ongoing at regular intervals. Like I said, they're very unusual, and there's definitely something going on. You'll have to excuse me. I'm not sure if I've just had a brain fart or not, but I'm sure this surface 0.0 kilometre depth 2.8 from the early hours of this morning wasn't on that list I read out. Now some news that we've all been waiting for. Noaa has finally released the August global methane monthly mean figures. Hooray! And they're actually showing it going up. We've got August 2020 compared to August 2019, and they're showing a rise of 13.9 parts per billion, which is what I've been saying to you for the past few months. Although it's the gap's gone up a little bit since then. Anyway, I thought I'd do a snip of just is last August 2019. So I'll do a little snapshot and compare it to my graphs for August to August. And the numbers are quite similar. My graph is also showing about a 14 parts per billion rise between August this year and August last year. But the graph in between, it's showing the peaks. But I showed a larger drop after last year's winter peak than what Noaa reported. And it's interesting that the latest August figure is only slightly higher than it was in April. My figure's showing that it's much higher than it was in April. So I don't know how they work their figures out, or whether they're skewing the graphs or whatever. But at least they are showing it on the up, and the annual increase does agree with what I've been reporting. Like I said previously, I'd love to know how Noaa arrives at their numbers, and then I could try and get mine to agree with theirs. And if you look on the this is on the trends in methane page, and you go down, it says go here for more details on how global means are calculated. So I went on there, and calculation of global means. But you read through this, and all it is CO2. CO2, 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 CO2. Not a mention of CH4 at all. So thanks for that, Noah. That's a little bit of misguidance, I think, there on your part. Well, I hope you've not all fell asleep during these updates. I just wanted to get that information out about the shallow earthquakes and the recent release of monthly methane figures from Noaa. Alright, if you want the very latest methane trends, you don't need to wait till April for Noah to tell you. Just follow my channel. I'll be doing another update this coming Sunday. Hopefully I'll feel a bit more lively then, and try and give you a bit of a laugh as we go through it, and amongst some whatever other stuff I can turn up and find in the meantime. Thanks a lot for watching. I love you all, everybody. See you soon. Goodbye.